Hello, hello, hello! I am Kasasagi Usagi, and I am here with more Pillars of Eternity. I play too many games in too short a span, and I can't remember what I'm doing at any given moment, or what's happening at any given moment, or
Oh?
the mechanics. We need to go talk to Lady Webb, just like it says in the title. Everyone gonna be cool? Oh, hell yeah. That's not a spider at all. This woman clutches a thick stack of parchment with spindly, wrinkled fingers, their flesh stretched thin to near translucence. With extreme age, a gossamer veil over pale blue veins, ink splotches, and candle burns dot and strip her hands like a quilt patterned after some great, indescribable truth. She does not look up from her reading.
So, the messenger conveyed my summons. A miracle that would make the reincarnation of Aothis look like a child's cantrip, surely. It doesn't draw the most inspired minds, messaging. They failed me so many times of late, I nearly sent a cipher after you instead. So this is the Watcher who took over Cad Noir. Oh, don't look so surprised. It isn't an attractive expression. I wouldn't be where I am for long if I let details like that escape me.
It seems Dunard Rowe's spies live up to their reputation.
And this fiasco in the sanitarium that you seem to have gotten yourself into the middle of. What in blazes possessed you to stir that nest of trouble?
How dare you? That wasn't my fault, though it may look like it. I'm investigating a strange group.
Strange does not begin to describe them. The practices of the Leaden Key defy all reason. You're not the only one with an interest in their recent activities. I've lost 4 ciphers this year alone trying to get someone inside their ranks. As it is, we only have our suspicions about who is in the group and what they intend. Which I suppose means we have much in common with them. I asked you here because I wanted to know what your interest was in all of this. I thought perhaps we might help each other. Why are you looking for the Leaden Key?
One of their members caused my soul to awaken. I need him to reverse it. She closes her eyes and her lids flicker. Then her face goes still and her mouth parts little more than a sliver and her hand briefly drops open, spilling some of her parchment to the ground, the pages wafting around her legs like leaves of a dying tree. Her fleshy eyelids peel back and her gaze is immediately upon you.
The gods are cruel, I'm afraid. The man you seek is Theos Ix Arcanon, Grand Master of the Leaden Key. One of the most elusive and dangerous men Aora has ever known.
I have to point this out before we go any further. She's got that Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme board up here where she's connected dots with the little strings. I just can't stop staring at it. How do you know I seek Theos?
Because you have seen his face, and that makes it a simple matter for me to see it. You even happened to catch him in his ceremonial garb, it seems. Must have been a special occasion.
What can you tell me about Theos?
More than most, though very few would know so much as his name. And there is no way of knowing how much of what I've read is true. The Leaden Key dates back more than 2,000 years. If rumors are to be believed, Theos was the one who created it. What scraps of evidence exist suggest that he has died many times, only to be reborn each time exactly the same man. Awakened during adolescence with all the knowledge and experience of all his lifetimes. The plots he orchestrates sometimes take hundreds of years to bear fruit. Needless to say, this is not the natural order of things. But he is said to be one of Woodica's favored, and that old bat was never one to let rules get in the way of favoritism.
Someone told you chocolate milk is for kids? Chocolate milk is delicious.
That may also explain another supposed gift of his. His body is no boundary to his soul, and he is known to take possession of others, if their souls are weak enough. Often it is for elaborate deceptions, but sometimes he simply forces them to kill themselves. He is not known for his generous supply of pity. He is also not one to show himself in any but their most critical matters. If he has directly involved himself in whatever the group plots now, it may be your only chance to find him. And once you do find him, if you can find him, I would not hold my hopes too high if I were you. He is a driven, single-minded man. He will not have the slightest concern for your problems.
How do you know so much about
The
Theos?
same way I come by all my knowledge. Exhaustive research, spying, bribery, perhaps some less savory measures. Whatever the knowledge demands, I pay in full. There is nothing of greater value. Unfortunately, with Theos, there is also nothing more scarce. He has covered his tracks far too well. His manipulations of the course of history are lost to time now, though I believe they were many.
What else is there to know about the Leyden Key?
Precious little, I'm afraid. You may know much of it already. No one member knows the identity of more than a handful of other members. They are kept in the dark of missions they are not involved in, or sometimes of those they are involved in. They exist to hide secrets they themselves don't know, if you can imagine how gullible someone must be for that to appeal. Despite that, they are very good at what they do, owing much to their founder, who will take matters into his own hands when necessary. And he does not fail.
What do you want from me?
Keep me informed. The Leaden Key has been busy lately, and that is distressing news. I can only guess as to what they intend. You seem to have a knack for turning the stones they've crawled beneath. Keep turning them. Dunreed Row will not stop you. Whatever it is they're up to, figuring it out will be of great use to both of us. In your case, it will surely point you to Theos. In return, I will share our knowledge with you as we learn it, and provide you with what assistance I can.
Very well.
If you find your trail has run cold, come to me with whatever you have. There is much I may be able to do for you.
I'm so glad we have a mom now. She's got a voice actress. I'm sure this will be fun. There's something I can tell you about the Leyden Key's operations.
Well, let's hear it.
I found Theos in Blackenberry's sanitarium, impersonating a patient. He was trying to damage the public's opinion of animancy.
Forgive me. It is unlike Theos to leave witnesses. He must be furious.
The corner of her mouth perks.
He did not aid you as you'd hoped, I take it? Well, take heart. With any luck, when he has finished his business, he will surely come and find you again, if only to kill you while you sleep. This news of yours makes sense, of course. To dabble in animancy is to puzzle over the secrets of the gods. This would not be the Leaden Key's first action against it. But if this is connected to their other activities, we may be in for something on a much larger scale. If we can learn more about their goals and methods, perhaps we can get the palace behind us. With Avar's support, we may be able to put a stop to this.
The Ingwethian Tower in Heritage Hill contains an ancient machine to control the flow of souls. The Leyden Key activated it.
This is troubling. That civilization seems to have known more about the mechanics of souls than anyone since. The Leaden Key was born in that period. It may be that Theos has full knowledge of their technology. The applications of this machine you speak of, I don't want to think about it. That isn't enough to take to the Duke, but we're close. Avar Wolfgren is a cautious man. He will want to know everything possible before being moved to action.
That's all I have. The progress is encouraging. I only hope that we are not too late.
Yes?
Oh shit. Tell me more about Din Red Row.
All the things there are to know in this world, and you ask me about work. Deerwood is a rebel country. Conflict is in its blood. If you think a few guards posted in our cities keep chaos at bay, you are very new to town indeed. We are Deerwood's cipher investigators, of course. But what we really are is its last barrier against anarchy. People are more at ease when they believe they are watched over by someone more enlightened than they are. It pacifies them. So that is the image we foster. And we do try to be enlightened for their sake. The knowledge we gather here is Deerwood's standing army in many ways. We learn what's vital and we act on it while Deerwood sleeps, blissfully unaware of the terrifying truths all around them. I wish I could tell people the things I know sometimes, but the truth is I don't think many of them could bear it.
How did you come to be here?
Me? I started this place, in a different time, under a different Duke. I impressed the Duke with my research and my work ethic, and he became possessed of the notion that I would be ideal to lead a secret network of gifted investigators. I don't know how such an idea got into his head.
She winks. How old are you? She gives a half-hearted gasp and covers her mouth with her fingers. You wicked woman, where are your manners? Were you raised without a shred of decency?
I lost count ages ago. Such a strange thing to celebrate, getting closer to death. Oh, I've had my share of work done to prolong my existence, if that's what you're wondering. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not done here. There are things I still wish to learn. And I'll be the effigy if I let Berith carry me off before I'm through. There was a time when I considered enlisting the theorems of Pondgrum to extend my life indefinitely. I found the thought of devouring my political enemies to sustain my own life greatly appealing. I must have gone soft with age.
Are you psychic?
If you are hoping I can look at your hand and tell you whom you should marry, you can just wipe that notion from your mind. I do not know what will happen tomorrow. That is what I pay spies for. Being a cipher is not unlike being a watcher. You notice more about what is already there. Many can hold an object and know where it's been, or peer into the thoughts of people around them. They can also sometimes affect those thoughts, but that would be unethical, of course. A tiny, talented few pick up so much about the world around them, they can get images of things to come, but these are fleeting and unreliable.
You said you don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Who said I was talented? I don't. Least not that I can trust. And with me, it's only ever about one thing anyway.
What's that?
A quiet day at home.
She glances back behind her toward a small table and a queer smile finds its way across her face. Is there a a Lord Webb?
There was.
What happened to him?
He believed in dying with dignity. He was old-fashioned that way, my husband. We saw the world very differently, he and I. But he was good to me while he lasted.
Let's talk about something else. And that's
Try
it.
your best not to die out there.
That is the goal. Okay. Well, she didn't really leave me with too much to do. Oh, I've been missing these. I met a medal at the old deckhand in Ordra's gift. He was part of a riverboat crew carrying several crates of cargo, including a few boxes of Ingwethian artifacts. Several suits of armor from Kalan Rogag attacked the crew, causing the ship to run aground. Now Amadal's looking someone to retrieve the 3 missing pieces of broken Ingwethian scepter. He knows an animancer who would be willing to buy the artifact if all the parts are found. Other parts are still missing. Retrieve a stolen scroll. Grimda said that one of the thieves mentioned an abandoned farm on the path to Direford. Confront Kolfik and Andra's gift. Oh, right, Kolfik. Speak to Wyla. I've dealt with Lyra, and she's no longer trouble the Crucible Knights or anyone else in Heritage Hill. I should go to Crucible Keep in the first fires and tell Wyla what happened. Okay. There are a bunch of little things I still need to do. I completely missed, I guess, the bottom half of my quest log, but that's okay. If it's still daylight, I guess I should check around the docks some more in the gift, because apparently I missed some shit. Okay. The gift is right here. I guess there's one more thing I have to uncover before we can have enough evidence to convince the Duke. Does that man live? I think he lives here. Hey, there he is. A youngish elven man squints at you in surprise. You can't just barge into somebody's home like this. Who do you think you are? I'm a friend of Bricintia Domanal. He takes a step back. Now wait just a minute. I'm staying clear of the Domanals, you understand? Surely we can put this behind us. Beat him up. What did you do to make her so angry? I told her she wasn't my type. Maybe not as tactfully as that, but I didn't want trouble with the most dangerous man in Defiance Bay. How could I know she'd take it so personally? I really want to get in good with the Mafia. I have already gone and done so much for them. If I don't give you a good beating, Precinta will send someone who will. Please, you can't. See, he's alive, though. Peace. I can't remember if she told me to kill him or not. I'm not wrong, though. If I didn't do it, it would have been much, much worse. This shall be a mercy. So he's still gonna find missing pieces, eh? Aha.
Now this I haven't seen before.
Durin, your eyes are like... Durin's your eyes are like crazy good at spotting hidden secrecies. I wonder if it's because his mechanic skill is so high. That man just sees things. Muscles cling to the brinks and planks, their shells sharp enough to cut flesh. we go. Okay, so I found them all. I think the man's right there, yeah.
Hail and well met.
Imato rubs a callous thumb over the ruins of the opal. Is this about the broken scepter? Yes, I have 3 pieces. His bristled eyebrows rise to a peak. You mean you got those past those armored monsters? I don't know how. He shakes his head. Listen, if you're willing, I'll give you this last piece. He holds up the opal. And the name of someone who will buy it all. All I want is 200 pans for getting the cargo here. Sound fair? Yes? He accepts the money and gives you the opal. It's still warm from his hands. You'll want to go to the Blackenberry Sanitarium and find Nans. She'll know more about this artifact, and I know for a fact she's bought from our crew before. I think I just got bamboozled. If I had to guess, I think I've been bamboozled. Like, there's no way that I give this man 200 gold and then I'm suddenly given like thousands of gold. I don't think it's gonna work like that. I think that someone is gonna tell me that that's a fake and that I've been bamboozled. Unless I go back and kill him. Are my stats going... Am I... Because I'm being a bad person? No, I'm still very benevolent and honest and passionate.
Ituma, leave the pig alone.
Wait, is this the sanitarium? I should have checked before I walked in here. Oh, it is. So I'm looking for a name, someone named...
Well met, friend.
Huh. Probably downstairs. Everyone is downstairs. All the fancy animancers. Yeah, I will come back for him. But I bet he'll be gone. Life isn't that easy. There's one office that's never had anyone in it, so... 'Cause she lives in there. Oh, is it him? No. This was the other guy's office that I killed. I don't think there's anybody left in here that can do anything for me. Wait a second. There was an office in here that I never even looked at?
Dead on. Spot on.
Right? Well, I can't loot that body, and you know what? That's okay. Sure is like a lot of screaming happening in here still. And it's kind of upsetting. The chain's grown with added weight. Crescent bite marks pit the edges of the cot. Oh. The bucket reeks of offal. It's possible I missed them upstairs. Like, that is not an impossible happening. Something churns and bubbles in this tank. Copper wires and conduits. Ice are still warm. And there was nothing in this main room, right? Yeah. Hmm. Maybe this man knows something? He's the only one left, really.
Well met, friend.
No, you don't know shit, apparently. Do you know anything? Nope. And there was nobody in here, huh? I must have missed them upstairs. It's the only thing I could think of. Okay. Let's keep a keener eye out. No, their name started with an N. Oh my god. Alright.
Greetings.
An elderly woman pursues the shelves with a quickness and energy that belly her age. I'm afraid I don't practice anymore, child. Too busy with my research. Immortal sent me. He said you'd be interested in these scepter pieces we found. That chatty old fishwife's been babbling about me, I see. She laughs and rolls her eyes. Never trust your secrets to a man with so much salt in his beard. Anyway, let's see what you got. Nans examines the scepter, her eyes hooded by a crinklish flesh. Emmetal told you true. I'll buy this. Unfortunately, a broken scepter isn't as valuable as he may have led you to believe. She steals a glance at your face, but her fingers tighten around the piece in her hands. I'll take it off you for 500. You seem a little too excited. What aren't you telling me? The corners of her mouth twitch upward. Sharper than a mantle, I see. The truth is, I could repair the scepter. She runs her fingers along one of the patterned pieces. It's broken, sure enough, but the pieces themselves are in good condition. Making it whole again is a matter of alchemy. Expensive alchemy. I've got to soak broken ends in fiend's blood, compound to reconnect them. Never mind the embalming work to restore the enchantments. She eyes you. I could do the tune of 1,800 pens. So I give them another 1,800 and I get this scepter? Is that what I've come to understand? I don't think money's an issue for me right now. Oh, it better be a good scepter. Put the scepter back together. I expect you'll want to watch and see that your money's put to good use. Better get comfortable then. She lays an array of powders, potions, and the other obscure ingredients on her desk. After what feels like hours, she returns to the main hall with you and presents the scepter. Looking at it, you've never known it to have been broken in the first place. This may be the finest work I've ever done, if I may say so, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. Examining a piece like that is a dream come true for someone in my field. She gazes at it wistfully. Take good care of it. Ooh. I'm done with you. Well, let's take a look at this scepter. It's two-handed. $16 to $22. $12 to $19. $12 to $19, but it is faster than Durance's staff. 19 plus 19, 38. If you assume that you can get 2 swings. Alright, Durance does like to do a lot of slapping. Look at that. Alright, what's next? Stolen whale from the Hall of Mysteries. They're on a farm somewhere on the path to Direford. Return to Brinka. I have no idea where this woman is. And the knights. I have to go talk to them again. Okay. I have no idea where whatever her name will be. She's probably not at the house. Maybe she's at the bar? An elusive woman she is. Wyla's in the training grounds, I believe. Oh, Sada's here. Sada looks like she's had a bath and a few square meals. She smiles shyly. Aww. Any news from Heritage Hill? Your guards were charmed by the spirit of a woman named Lyra. I've gotten rid of her. Her tired eyes grow round. By the flame, you found her, my missing commander. She heaves a sigh and loses her gaze among the floor tiles. And she was calling to the watch from beyond the grave. It doesn't make sense, but nothing in that accursed district does. What happened to the soldiers under her spell? They didn't make it. I see. Nevertheless, thank you for your help. You've left me with as many questions as answers, but at least I know what happened to my troops, and Commander Lyra. Please accept this as a token of my gratitude. If there's nothing else, I must attend to my duties. Nice. I am the champion of the Crucible Knights. And a hero of House Damozel. Hello! I hope you are well. So dark. Let's see.
You know, Durance,
Just because you follow the goddess of fire doesn't mean you need to literally consume everything you come across.
The fire is a favor I grant to those I meet.
Oh, I missed.
Or it ends them mercifully if not.
The remaining unemptied beer steins of the Deerwood quake in fear.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm having a good time with it as well. Alright, I'll check the house and then I'll look at the bar for her. I can't imagine where she'd be. She's sort of, I don't think she's always found me. I've never found her. If I'm thinking who I think I'm thinking of.
Segan, what is it like not to see your children for so long? I imagine it must be difficult.
Even in my souk, I'm on the hunt more than at home. But 5 years... it's been a strain.
Then to your good fortune. Ado Vidorio. May you see them all again soon.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna be here. God, I want to rob this house blind so very, very badly. Oh, I remember. She's upstairs. She's not the woman I'm thinking of at all. She's
I'm ready.
She's like the wife, I
Yes.
think. Everybody come on. Yeah, she's like the wife of the house or something. Yeah. I do. I need to probably restock in a second. Oh, hello. I
Certainly.
I also read all like the memories and stuff, and those take a toll on my voice. But I don't mind it. They're really good. They don't seem to have any bearing to the story, I assume, but it's good. There she is.
Good day, stranger.
Back again. If only my husband returned so quickly. I've dealt with Kolfig. That does make me very glad indeed. She draws one crimson fingernail to her lips. Tell me about it. Don't leave out a single detail. She nibbles the tip of her finger. I thrashed that sorry fool within an inch of his life. And took pleasure in your work, I see. A small smile curls at the corners of her lips. Consider me a satisfied customer. She slips a pouch under your belt, and anytime you want to come back, you can have a look at my special wares. It's been so long. Oh, my character is a godkin, but she's really small. Let me see. There she is. I made her very small. I gave her dwarf body, and she's just so adorable. Woo.
Hail and well met.
Show me what you have for sale, and don't be weird about it. Look at all this expensive shit. Oh, that's cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, I have definitely been reading them all. I assume the graveyards and stuff that you see that have all like those crazy names, those are probably also backers. Yeah, I've read all that I've come across. Can I do stuff for the Mafia yet? It's over between us, apparently. Oh, I bet it's like anyone who kickstarted gets like to have their name in the graveyard, but if you did a certain amount, you got to make your own little backstory. I like that a lot. That's cute. That's good. Good stuff. I think all the more important to read that sort of stuff. Alright, now I need to find this stolen scroll. Cool. Where are you guys going? Where are you guys going? Alright, that's fine. Go faster. like that. Okay, so on the bridge to... On the road to Direwood, they said? There's a farm. I'm gonna guess the Woodland Plains? I assume, yeah, that I'm eventually gonna have to do something. But I've already ruined my chances with the Mafia because I was too close to the Crucible Knights, and I have done nothing but be a pain in the ass to the dozens, so... Oh. A woman you remember from Brackenbury strides over to you. The hem of her robe is torn and covered in burrs. You could have just refused. You could have forgotten all about the theorems of Padgram, but you had to go and tell Grimma. Her voice trembles and she clutches at her hair with a shaking hand. Oh no, I did do that. I know you're prone to strong opinions, but I had no idea you'd launch a personal crusade against me. I didn't actually mean for this to happen. I am truly sorry, Nedyan. She barks with harsh laughter. Me too. Well... Believe me when I say this was not the course of events that I wanted to have happen. But if we're gonna scrap, then let's scrap.
Hey.
Okay. It's tentacle time.
Hey.
Okay, and now Durance, if you promise not to tank for once in your life, you can attack. No. Oh, he's got us actual. That does solve the problems of him tanking. If he just doesn't have to be in the middle of combat. Oh, they're dead.
Yes.
I didn't mean to. I was just like doing dialogue options and then I spilled all the beans. So. Don't think I found that thing yet. No, I didn't. Okay. So let's go this way. Yeah. When your desire for dialogue ruins somebody's life. My bad. Abandoned farm on the path to Direford. This little pig means everything to me. Can't go that way. I don't know if this is the way either. I've never been here though.
Certainly.
Alright, let's do what we always do. And die while exploring. Mr. Wiggles? We can name him Mr. Wiggles. I can't actually change his name. But we'll remember it in our hearts. I hope that goes fine. Oh dear. Well. Don't do that, Aloth. Just do this.
Dead on. Finish. Can't get a good shot with this.
Oh, it's going very badly.
Yes.
Moe Ixi an.
Hmm?
Let's all just take a big rest. Because I think some of us aren't doing so good. Just everybody sit down before you all hurt yourselves. Zagnite saunters over to you, stretching her leg. She holds a pouch of deer jerky in one hand, and she offers it as she takes a seat across from you. Itamak looks on hungrily. Long day. She bends one arm behind her head, reaching until you hear a pop. Just wanted to see how you were holding up. You seem to have a lot of long nights. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna play that after this one. I have it in my Steam library already. Or I think I do. I probably do. Well enough, thanks. That's a relief. I was following an Ardra bear before. I'd hate to find out that my situation had gotten worse. She folds her arms over her knees. Look, it's been a while since I had a hunting party, but we're in this together now, and even if we're hunting for different things, we're still hunting together. She takes a hunk of dried meat from her pouch and bites a long strip from it. Itimak licks his lips, and she tosses him the rest. I don't exactly understand what's happening to you, but I'll help you find Theos, same as you're doing for me.
Hmm?
Dwarf Mom is very good. All my companions are very good. Mine is Durance. Durance is kind of awful. Durance is stinky. Oh, that cat exploded. I would say that's probably true. Uh-oh.
Dead on.
Bear, don't let that happen. Bear.
Hey.
All of you, actually.
Hmm? Yes.
Dead on.
Oh, it's custom.
Finish.
I didn't do, she's my design, and then I commissioned the art for her, and then I had to commission someone to rig her, so that she moves in time with me and everything. The The sun casts its light on a pattern in the ground. You kneel to get a better look. The stone here has been carved with a few simple shapes. A small circular indentation marks the center, and a much larger circle surrounds it. You see what appears to be writing above the two circles. Look at the circular indentation. The indication is shallow and smooth. It looks as though it was intended to hold something specific. Examine the outer circle. Several shapes have been carved along the outer ring. Though most have been worn away, you can make out a crescent above the center. Examine the writing. The curving, twisting runes are strangely familiar to you. You recognize them as the ancient Ingwithian. They read, "All things end, only to continue anew. Enter now at dusk, and we may experience a new dawn." Let's wait a while. You wait for a few hours, marking the sun's journey across the sky. You wait a few hours watching as the stars wink and glow overhead. I wonder if it's something I can't do yet. Oh, well, I obviously don't have the thing, so. Durance is a stinky boy. But he's very curious, and he's very knowledgeable. Which I don't dislike. Oh, hello. Chewing on a piece of uncooked meat, a small Orlan dressed in tattered leathers offers a mumbled greeting and waves his hand. Despite his pleasant smile, the upper right portion of his face is in a sorry state. An eye patch stitched with a stylized eyeball wraps around his head, and his ear is a mangled remnant that twitches in spasms while the other ear perks up at your approach. Next to him is the splayed carcass of a deer that appears ripped open by a bear or wolf. You hear a gurgling rumbling next to you. Sagani places her hand on her stomach, her eyes on the carcass. Still fresh. Itamok's pink tongue rolls out of his mouth.
If this is your deer, you need a new game warden. Name's Haravius. Hungry? I can't eat all this. First catch of the day, help yourself.
What killed that deer?
One ornery Stelgar. Though looking at the deer's insides, it had a malformed but delicious heart, and would have been dead within the year regardless. Gallowayne chose a fitting end for this fine animal. Pardon me. I shouldn't pray with my mouth full.
What brings you here? It seems like you get one companion of each class. Because, like, you have your fighter, you have your paladin, Sagani is your hunter. I don't know what he's gonna be, but he's definitely a companion. You got your chanter. I can't remember who else exists. Your mage and your priest. Gallowayne chose a fitting end. What brings you here?
Other than the delicious venison, new trees to document, new animals to sketch, new sights to be seen. I've learned as much as I can from the druids of my circle. I'd rather wander and learn than take root and stagnate.
Okay, so he's a druid.
So if you're traveling to Deerwood and need another set of hands, I'd welcome the safety of a group.
A druid's assistance would be welcome.
I'm trained by the celebrants of Hawk and Ivy of the Fisher Crane tribe. I know more than my share of nature magic, and, well, I don't shy away from a good fight. I have business with the druids that live near Twin Elms. So long as we find ourselves there eventually, I'm happy to follow along.
You're welcome to join us.
Splendid! It'll be an honor to run with a pack for a change.
Let's see. So I'm in a tricky situation. I will never let Aloth out of my sight. And Durance needs to travel with me in order to move his quest along. I like having her with because she's got a fox who would like double tanks. But and he's my actual tank. I think she seems to have stuff going on in Defiance Bay, so I don't want to toss her out. But it's fine that Kana doesn't come, because Kana's stuff is all in our fort, so he doesn't need to be there. I don't know what your story is, little man. Alright. You can sit behind. And you can come, but you better fucking pull your weight.
Oh?
My character is freaking out. A League of Legends coach? Or a little league like baseball. Oh, Durance got left behind. Well, what I was looking for does not seem to be here, and I can go no further. So,
Oh.
I guess I'll leave. I didn't mean to leave him behind. It just sort of happened. So, I need a farm. Let's check out the Black Meadow first, and then continue going that way. I mean, fair. Bandit camp. Destroyed cart. These don't look like farms to me. Yeah. Magrin's Fork, then? It's the only side quest kind of left for... Well, that's not entirely true, I don't think. Oh, there's a ton of this place I haven't explored. I must have been like, I need to get out of here. Is this where I got assaulted by many, many wolves? I think it is, actually. Well, it's dead. Don't mind if I do. This looks like the farm that she was talking about, though, so I just gotta wander around it, I think. I remember this because the game glitched out and my characters didn't come back to life, but I remember Aloth, like, running the Great Mile around this farm. Or, you know... Wait. I spy something. Most excellent. So not here either, huh? Oh, I do remember this. 6,000 wolves.
Blood makes the...
He did it! Look at this! He made it out! He had 3 endurance left. This little man pulled his weight. He can stay. Yeah, he really tanked. Hello? Hello there. Begging your pardon, but you gave me a good fright. I thought I heard something rustling through the bush. Suppose that it was just you. Silly of me. Better safe than sorry, right? Say, did you hear something? Apparently I did. I don't know where that's coming from, though. Oh, more wolves.
Yes?
Well, we can all fight the wolf, you know.
I'm the Arches Vox Converano.
Well, better late than never, huh?
Yes.
By every star in the sky, thank you. I've never seen those beasts so bold before. Strange times we're in. Here, take these. I'm headed to Gilded Vale for certain, and you can make better use of them. What an interesting little side quest that I didn't do. Man, I don't know. If there weren't people in that house with the thing, I have no idea. A group of scroll thieves have stolen the scroll of Veil from the Hall of Revealed Mysteries in Defiance Bay. Grandma said that one of the thieves mentioned an abandoned farm on the path to Direford. He's 125 endurance. Health bars or something else. Yeah. He's got 497 health, but his endurance is rather low. Well, it's not that low compared to, like, my actual tank. What's happening here, everybody? I've got 3 notifications. Okay. So there wasn't anything here. Wait. Get those flowers. The only other thing I can think of is that I go to Cadnois and take the far path and see if that opens a new route for me. I don't know where this farm is, if anything else. And it's such a mystery.
I feel sorry for whoever has to clean up this place.
That would be a big no. I'm gonna try one more thing, and then I'm just gonna give up. This is not that big a deal. Okay, I'm gonna... Well, no, that actually... I actually should have gone to Searing Gorge. Yeah, that's what I should have done. Or Stonewall Gorge. And then leave out the north end. Yeah, we leave out this way instead. And maybe there is a... something new opens up. Or I go to that other place. It is grayed out for me still. Aha! It would be funny if the farm too that they're talking about on the path to Direford was actually just in Direford. We couldn't just say that. these wild statues?
Out with you! I already told you what... I'm sorry. I thought you were one of those ruffians.
He stops and peers at you, squinting through a black eye. Someone has put this priest to the test, but one not nearly difficult enough by my measure. An amateur's work.
How may I help you?
What happened to you?
I never saw their faces. Strange, hooded men asking about those ruins. Cleoban Relag. Most of the brigands who come through here asking about the ruins are looking for a few ancient trinkets. But these people knew the name, and they were in a hurry. They wanted to know where Cleoban Relag was. I tried to keep it from them, but I couldn't hold out forever. I don't know what they were up to, but it can't be good.
He limps away from the window, shaking his head. Aleph looks at you, frowning. That does sound like the leaden key, doesn't it? The old priest nods positively. Is there something else I can help you with? Can you tell me where to find these ruins?
The Glanfathan tribe that guards the ruins will kill anyone who trespasses there. And they'll retaliate against us, too, if history is any indication. We've had too many fortune seekers stir up trouble of late. If I'm to tell you, I'll need to know your reason for wanting to go.
He folds his arms and stares at you with one eye and scowl. So this is where I say, go into the ruins and I'll kill you. And that's when you say, Heverus, I'm a watcher and you're no match for all of us and we've got a good reason for this. And then I give up trying to argue with you and leave you to dig your own trespasser's grave. And I'm only being half metaphoric. We sometimes make Drywoodians dig their own grave before we kill you. And when the kids hear about that, it's a fabulous deterrent. A dangerous plot is unfolding there. I'm going to stop it.
If that's the case, we may already have trouble headed our way. I'll have to take you at your word. You'll find Cleoban Relag here. Whatever trouble you find there, please end it quietly and try to stay out of the ruins.
Tell me more about the Direford. Folk here tend to keep to themselves, as they do in most towns this deep in Direwood. They're suspicious of travelers, but with all the brigands and refugees moving through the area, who can blame them? This is the Temple of Bareth. What can you tell me about Bareth? Bareth is the most universal of all gods. It oversees portals and cycles of all kinds, and life and death itself. Under Bareth, an ending is merely a passage to another beginning. Bareth has many representations across time and across cultures. Around the Direwood, you'll commonly see it depicted as the Pelid Knight, or the Usher. The Galvathians, however, know it as Bunwe I Aneku, and Aneku I Bunwen. Tell me about the Pelid Knight. She's one of the youngest manifestations of Bareth, but a familiar one nonetheless. Stories describe her as a gaunt knight in black armor, with black eyes, black hair, and milk-pale skin. She demands an impossible toll from travelers who have tarried too long on her lord's road. Some challenge her only to slay themselves in the process. Who is the Usherer? Kith have written stories, songs, and poems about the Usher for centuries. Sometimes he's folk, sometimes dwarf, and sometimes merely a walking skeleton. He never speaks, but he guides the way to death and the next life. He also creates the circumstances for the wayward to stumble into their own graves. I have never heard of Bewen I Aneku and Aneku I Bewen. It means life and death and life, respectively. You see them as two skeletal figures, one male and one female. Explorers have found them carved opposite one another in doorways, but I know not of the particular legends that speak of them. Thank you. Well...
Hello.
The guard gives you an appraising look. You've recently come to Direford, I take it. I don't suppose you saw that young elven noblewoman on the road? I'm stuck in this wretched place with the rest of my unit until we find her. I haven't seen anyone like that. Same as everyone else in this blazing village, he sighs. Perhaps you could go speak with Lord Harrod in the inn anyway. He'll be grateful for the assistance, and it could be the locals open up about his daughter's disappearance more than they have to us. Oh boy. I thought I heard my cat drinking out of the
Been a
fish
pleasant
tank and I got
surprise
so
traveling
scared.
with you, Horavius.
Nice of you to say that. I was on the road alone for years, and I'm happy to have company for a change.
My part of the country has a saying about Orlans. Face of skin, let 'em in. Face of hair, best beware. But you're more like a skin-faced Orlan.
Are you fucking kidding me? Well, my tribe has a saying, head of brunette, they're all set. Head of blonde says everything wrong.
Wait, was that bad? I meant it as a compliment.
This man is always accidentally very racist. He definitely doesn't mean it, but he's definitely racist kind of a lot. Are you fucking kidding me? Well, villagers don't usually have anything super interesting to say.
I just want to find her. Surely even you can understand that.
There's a different conversation happening here. A redhead stands by the fire, turning her lute and plucking its strings. She hums snatches of a melody and she goes, "First time in the Draconian? Normally I'd have a song ready, but I haven't quite worked out this tune yet. I'm writing some chants about the founding of this inn. Say, you're interested in the story? I haven't finished the chants, but I could tell you about it all the same." "Sure, let's have it." Palgina rolls her golden eyes and exhales for an excessively long time through her nose. "It was built at the time of Hadriot's rebellion. An Andarian lady, Thanu, once had a keep here. One of the towers still stands, but the rest is said to be buried under the village. Anyway, she stuck to the side of the Empire, and a contingent of the Duke's Hadriot's Knights of the Crucible helped the farmers and colonists in the area turn her keep to rubble. This inn was the first building that sprang up from the ruin, built with some of the same bricks the colonists had pulled from the Lady Thanu's castle, they say. Supposedly the quarterstaff of her chief wizard got lost in the construction, mortared into a wall, or nailed under a floorboard. Anyway, the inn was supposed to be a haven and a meeting place while the locals built their new town." Go on. "Darwoodians are an ordinary lot, but the more these new nobles met, the more they argued. They realized they didn't agree on much besides ousting the old lord. The biggest divide was over the Glathethians and their nearby ruins. Hadriot's Knights and their supporters wanted to keep the peace, but a group of misfits with more anarchic leanings that had formed in town wanted to go after the tribes the same way they'd gone after their lord. Soon the villagers were fighting with each other as much as with the Adrenians. In the end, memories of the Brokenstone War and the War of the Black Trees were fresh enough and the Duke's soldiers won the day. Most of the other villagers came around eventually, but some of the core troublemakers left to join the front lines in the War of Defiance, and others, I've heard, found their way into the Gilded Compass. The most forward-looking of the Gathidian tribes. I don't know if I believe that part myself, but it makes for a good story." She points to the east wall. "There's a portrait of one of the chief rabble-rousers and his rival in the peacekeeping faction. Someone's idea of a joke. I don't think they were particularly amused." I want to hear about the Brokenstone War." This was the first major conflict between the original Adarian settlers and the Glathethians. Happened 3 years into colonization, when some farmers knocked over an Ardra Menhar that was part of an Ingwithian ruin. The war didn't last long, but it spread quickly and claimed thousands in the early weeks. Most of the colonists didn't realize there was a war going on until the Glathethian raiders hit their villages. There'd been small, spontaneous skirmishes between the colonists and the locals before then, but this was organized, and it was the start of decades of violence between the colonists and the Glathethians. As you can see, Direwood's full of history, even in little villages like this. Tell me about the War of the Black Trees. It started back in the colonial days, almost 30 years after the Brokenstone War. Even though isolated conflicts still broke out between settlers and the Glathethians, both sides had officially agreed to peace. Edric Hadrit, Admeth's father, was a Griff at the time. As part of these peace negotiations, he'd signed treaties prohibiting Adrenian colonists from looting Ingwithian ruins. However, he'd been unable to outlaw the use of captured Glathethians as slaves. I see. Indeed, the talking of Gulthidian slaves had continued to be a source of conflict. It came to a head when Imperial agents aided certain Earls of the Direwood began looting the ruins again. See, the Empire had never actually agreed to Hadrian's treaties on the matter, and the recent succession of the Valenian republics likely led them eager to weaken Hadrian's position. The looting sparked a brutal slave uprising and a guerrilla campaign among the Gulthidians. Adric Hadriot was too old to lead forces in the battle, and so he sent his son, Edmith. Edmith made a costly but effective decision that ended the war faster than anyone could have imagined. He burned the forest near the Isle River to keep the Gulthidian war bands from retreating. Thousands of Gulthidians died, and as Edmith repeated his scorched earth tactics in the following months, he wore down the remainder of their forces. And to this day, over 150 years later, there are still sections of Direwood where the trees are nothing but bare, charred trunks. I need a sip.
We're decent folk, my lord. Perhaps you should leave and check the wilds.
Okay. Let's see. There's a man here. Why, it's you! Thank you, friend. You've given me another chance, and I mean to make the most of it. I've been telling everyone around here how you helped me. Oh, cool. I don't remember who you are. But I'm glad I did something. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see this woman running through the streets of a small city. She pushes her way through the crowd, glancing over her shoulder as she does. Her clothing is torn and her hair is devilish. Even though she appears to be attempting to escape from someone, her eyes sparkle with joy. Her mouth is pulled back in an enormous grin, and occasionally a small giggle works its way out of her throat. While looking over her shoulder, she runs headlong into a well-dressed man, standing at one of the market stalls. The moment she sees the man she's run into, her face changes. Gone is the glee, replaced by fear. Her grin twists into a frown, her bottom lip quivering. The man, seeing her appearance, expresses concern for her well-being, and she leans against him, weaving a tale of a brutish man with wandering hands. As she speaks, her own hands travel over his body, seeking and exploring. There is a shout from across the crowd, and they both look over to see a large, angry man approaching, roughly pushing his way through the crowd that separates them. She stiffens against him, feigning fear. The man tells her not to be afraid and steps in front of her to block the path of the figure who is coming nearer. The woman smiles, slowly backing away from them both, and lets out a gleeful cackle. Her protector turns, confused, and sees her departing, laughing and shaking a coin purse. She spins and races off through the crowded marketplace. Confused, the man feels at his belt. His face hardens as he yells, joining the chase after the laughing woman and losing herself in the crowd. The portrait depicts a man and a woman dressed in a deer garb that could have been in a style of century ago. The heavy frame has been battered, and the plate as once bore the patron's name has been scratched out. They share a passionate embrace, which seems odd with the disgust on their faces. The table has been scarred and stained from the decades of use.
Welcome!
The innkeeper digs inside a mug with a dirty rag. His eyes under his thick brows are tired but watchful. Thank you, thank you. I will take another sip. He gives you a quick nod as you approach the bar. Don't see many travelers these days. Something I can do for you? What was that exchange with the nobleman about? He looks up from polishing his tankard and glowers at the lord. Folk round here is decent. They mind their own business. You stick your nose in it, go talk to him yourself. I have questions about Direford. He runs his rag around the rim of the mug. Ask. Tell me about the village. Walk from one bridge to the next and you've seen it. We're quite hard-working folk. We keep to ourselves and don't take to being pushed around. He glares at the well-dressed man standing off to the side. Used to be a castle here, built by some family of Adirian Thyans way back when the Empire first came. Only one tower still stands, and that's part of Tigril's shop now. Sid, that bar by the fire could spin you a yarn if you're so inclined. Who lives in Direford? Not many anymore. Hard to keep people around when everyone here's birthing Hollowborn. But we got a few who stick around and do business. Tigril's the leather carrier, Hendetta crafts potions, and Winifred trades in general goods. Rumblebed's a pig farmer, or was anyway. Tell me about Tigro. He's a courier, treats leather and makes armor for a few other goods with it. Problem is, the smell of the tallow and deer shit tends to put people off their food, and his shop's right next door. What's Hedrina's story? Lady's a clever hand with potions and polituses. Got herself into trouble with a nest of worms, or so I hear. Carts to the east end of town. And Winfrith? been around longer than I have. Nice enough fellow, but never could find his way to the end of his sentence. His shop's across the square. Something happened to Renbel's pigs, I take it. Damn ogre carried them off. Now he squeals more than his herd ever did. He shrugs. It's rotten luck. Let's go back to my previous questions about Direford. You said you don't see many travelers. Course not. Why would they come here? We got bandits on the road and an ogre in the forest, and there's yapping fool Rumbled'll tell ya. Worse yet, hasn't been a healthy child born in here for over a year. Most kith that come here is just passing through. About the ogre. You don't hardly see him this close to town. Ogres and kith don't mix well. Ugly bastards, but you're smart enough to know that much. You want to know more? Talk to Rumbold. His farm's southwest of here. Goodbye. The guard keeps his eyes on the door. If you have any information about Lady Ellis, you should speak with Lord Harand. Oh. You see a man opening the door of a house, slow with fatigue. He steps inside, unlacing his boots, rubbing his temples. Wrinkle of a smile lighting his face as he moves into a generous kitchen. He calls for someone, slicing himself some bread. The house creaks gently in response. His lips purse, and he pads out of the kitchen into a large room with a staircase. Chewing slowly, he takes the stairs one at a time, calling once more. No response. His body freezes for a moment, and he walks into the room upstairs, nothing but the lone bed, and an abundance of faded felt toys. Moving faster, he checks each room. His call is growing more urgent. No response. Any sign of exhaustion is gone, replaced with limber panic. He checks cupboards, baths, anywhere a child might be. Nothing. Then a letter, next to the door he came in, with a queer symbol on its wax seal, one he's seen before. He crumples, shoulders shaking against the hard wall. Nobody sees him weep. The man wears a deer-style robe, simple but elegant. His fine leather shoes look like they were made for padding around indoors, yet they're caked with mud. He yanks at a lock of hair, twined around his silver-gloved finger. His fine features are etched with anxiety.
My child is out there. Do they not understand?
My lord, we're doing everything we can. Unfortunately, these villagers...
Beasts take them all. I don't care how you do it, but find her.
Hey, your child is missing, I take.
Yes, Lady Alice. My daughter.
He tugs at the fingertips of his gloves.
I've asked around, but nobody in this mud hole has any concerns beyond their swine. They turn my men away like beggars and seem downright pleased to be of no use. But you're not one of my soldiers. And you look like you're used to getting your hands dirty, if you don't mind my saying so.
His guard leads in. My lord, a simple vagabond? Hedron raises a hand to silence the man. If you find her, he nibbles into the thumb of one silk glove. Tell her I won't be upset with her. She can come back and all will be well. I just want to make sure Elise, my child, is safe. Nothing in the world is more important to me. I'd like to ask a few questions about your daughter.
Elise. Of course.
Describe Lady Elise. She's a striking young woman. Bears more resemblance to her mother than to me. She has auburn hair and delicate, well-bred features. She must be, 28 or 29 now? Tell me about her disappearance. We'd stopped in Direford for a few days. On our fourth evening here, I was making plans to continue our journey. Lady Elise was feeling unwell and went to bed. When I retired a couple hours later, I found that she had vanished. None of my men had seen her go, and no one at the inn knew where she was. Since then, my people have been combing the village, but we've yet to find a clue, and the locals have been no help. Why did you and Elise come to Direford? It was merely a stop along the way to Alina's rest. However, she took ill shortly before our arrival, so it seemed prudent to allow her a few days to recover. What's in Alina's rest? He frowns as if about to protest, but then gives in with a sigh. Lady Elise has reached an age where it is prudent for her to marry. Given this legacy business, I cannot let her fertile years slip by, nor do I want her womb to fester in the presence of so many Hollowborn. Gross. Where is the rest of your family? Surely they wouldn't want to miss your daughter's patrol. Lady Harand is ill-suited for travel, I'm afraid, and unfortunately Elise has few other close relatives, my sister and her husband. Elise's aunt and uncle, of course, have been visiting a deer this past month. He rubs his knuckles. As for siblings, Elise has none. My wife only gave birth to Hollowborn, since Elise, that is. There are better roads along the coast. Wouldn't it have been easier to follow them to Ena's Rest? If I thought that, I wouldn't be slogging through the forest, now would I? He waves a hand. The main roads are clogged with people fleeing one way or another to try to escape Widewind's legacy. It would have been difficult for a caravan like mine to pass without incident. At the time, it seemed prudent to move quickly along the back roads. I see, but going back to your daughter. I actually have no more questions. Alright. Let's see what I can steal from this. Oh. The Orlin hovers by the window, peering out of it every few seconds. As you enter the room, she watches you carefully, her hands hovering over her stiletto. She cranes her head to peer at you. Anyone follow you? Who sent you? What are you talking about? The man leaning against the wall glances out the door and nods to the Orlin. The hand over her weapon relaxes, but she's still watching you closely. Some old friends from Defiance Bay are looking for me. We're not exactly friends anymore, if you catch my drift. I'm just trying to lay low and mind my own business. Know what I mean? Boss. And Amara looks at the Orlin and jerks his head at you. Alright. Alright. She raises her hand to the Amara before turning back to you. My friend here thinks that you could help us out. Now, I'm sure you're a busy woman, so I'll make it worth your time. She flips you a few coins. Just go take a look around. Come back and let me know if the coast is clear, or if you see any suspicious figures. You're pretty suspicious. What's this about? She scratches the back of her neck. I may have gotten myself into trouble with some powerful people in Defiance Bay. Powerful, criminal people. I suppose it was bound to happen eventually. I'm a thief by trade, and it's hard to do my kind of business in the city without crossing them eventually. Now, I'm just trying to put some distance between us. I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but you don't seem like the type to run your mouth off. Very well. Oh my god. So I bet the people she got in bad with are the mafia family in
Slowly now.
A simple test.
That's
settled.
That I'm trying to be friends with. And if that's the case, I will absolutely rat her out. Hello? You see a tall figure pacing the edges of the carpet from corner to corner, fingers twitching in irritation. The sound of battle grows ever closer, snaking its way through the caves and corridors past doors and soldiers, and the mage paces. Throwing his door open, he strides through the refurbished cave, taking scrolls from shelves and demanding potions from terrified grunts. Kicking a fallen chair from his path, he returns to his room, pacing, readying himself. As the enemy grows closer and closer, he begins casting spell after spell, defenses, additional vigor, traps. Just as his skin hardens into metal, they stride in, swords flying and arrows buzzing. Last chance to rethink this, he says. An arrow whistles by his head in answer. He sighs, and his lips thin with effort as he begins his onslaught. There are 6 of them, but soon there are 4, then 3, and 1. For the last one he takes a dagger, to be sure, throwing it directly into the Orlin's temple. The man topples. None get back up. The mage barks into the hallway, retrieving naught but silence in response. Frustrated, he begins to dispose of the bodies, the last person standing. You see a man, eyes tight on a couple down a cobblestone road. He moves a little too obviously, a little too naturally, and his eyes never leave her mused curls as he shadows them from building to building. The woman laughs drunkenly, hand entwined with another belonging to a sharp-nosed noble. Flawless doublet, slightly too small for his generous frame. She brushes against him as they move, clearly far too intimate for her shadow's liking. His eyes narrow to angry slits as the couple slip into an opulent doorway and the nobleman's hand slips down her dress. Her breath shortens into a gasp as she leans into him further, moaning. The spectre pauses, mouth pressed shut, veins bulging. He slides along the wall, dagger in hand, and just as the woman bites into the nobleman's doublet, he steps out. It's over in moments. He closes his eyes, dagger slipping from his blood-slicked hand, and bolts. Double. Let's see. What else can we do?
Yeah?
Oh.
Yes.
You see a black-clad figure bent low and moving slowly through a field. The figure holds a gleaming blade in his hand, keeping it hidden behind his back. He approaches another man who is crouched over, actions hidden by a large bush as he crawled halfway under. The figure stops moving as the man comes out from under the bush. You see that it is this man holding a handful of berries. He has retrieved from a smaller bush that lies hidden in the overgrowth that surrounds it. He crawls back onto the large bush, his arms moving again as he picks the berries. The figure begins moving again, slinking towards the man. He does not stop picking, but you can see his head tilt very slightly to the side. He continues his work at the bush until the figure is almost on him. He blacks out, hands full, and places the berries in the basket. I am wiggling. Then he crouches before the basket, sorting the berries, removing leaves and any berry that doesn't look perfect. The figure comes up behind the man and raises his blade to strike. The man suddenly rocks back on his feet, spinning around to face the figure behind him. He grabs the figure's wrist and falls onto his back, planting a leg in the center of the figure's chest. The figure flies over the man and lands on his back in the dirt. The man is straddling the figure in an instant, his hand snapping out and hitting several points around the head and neck. The figure immediately falls unconscious. The man stands and retrieves the basket, collecting the berries and placing them back where they belong, and then he returns to picking. Hell yeah. Stay out of my private corners. That goes for you and Harrowland's bootlickers. That's gonna start some shit.
How may I help?
I'm not gonna do that. As the moment I opened the door, I was like, oh, that's gonna cause problems.
Hello.
A young woman leans against a wagon. One arm and the side of her face are covered in bandages, with raw, rippled flesh showing underneath. A minty, tangy scent wafts from her dressings. She smiles painfully. Just ventured into town? I'm about dry on some of my stocks, but you're welcome to have a look-see. Actually, I'm looking for a missing noble woman. Oh, that lord's daughter. She was a new shade of green when I seen her on the other side of the other morning, chatting with Tygrill. She was just outside his shop. She points at the crumbling tower. What was wrong with her? She tugs at a bandage. No offense, but I hardly know you, and I'm not one for gossip, and I certainly don't want to cause that poor girl any trouble. Oh, you're talking about morning sickness. Was she pregnant? She sighs. Aye, and worked into a state about it, she was. That girl was so sick she didn't even notice. She didn't even notice Tigrill's stink. I offered her some herbs to take care of the problem. Thought it might save her some trouble with the old man, but she wouldn't have it. Lord Harren did say she was ill from travel. She laughs. That weren't no road sickness. Trust me, I know it when I see it.
Hail and well met.
Thanks for the information. Anything else I can do for you? I've got some handy ointments if you're braving the roads anytime soon. You said your supplies were limited. What happened? It's the damn roads. Can't reach none of my suppliers, so I'm stuck with whatever I can scrounge up in the wood. Drycap, river reed, and the like. That's well and good, but most potions require something stronger too. Troll skin, vessel bone, what have you. And then there's that really rare ingredients. Things you need that you'd never be able to afford, let alone find on your own. What did you find? Hedria winces as the rest of the story comes tumbling out of her. I've been keeping an eye on the drake's nest east of town at Dryerwood's Crossing. The beast stayed just long enough to lay a clutch and moved on. Thank the Sky Mother it wasn't a fully grown dragon. She looks at her bandaged arms and grimaces. Fresh eggs are much more useful than the ones that get passed between merchants or left in nests for weeks or more. And that clutch looked to be at its peak. Thought I'd see about getting an egg, and I didn't realize so many of them had already hatched, or that young worms were so territorial. I could get that egg for you. She keeps her gaze steady, but you see hope kindling in her eyes and twitching at the corners of her mouth. I sure hope you're not leading me on. I don't think I could stand getting burned again. She bites her lip. If you really mean to go gather it, I'd certainly pay you. Just remember, because they are, dragon eggs are fragile, and there's a lot more I can do with a whole one. Okay. Hello? You've made it. You see a modestly furnished house, warm from the cooking fire lit at its far end. The man is sitting in a high-backed chair, looking at a large book with a small boy in his lap. He smiles and asks the child about pictures on the pages as he points to different parts of them. He looks up as a woman approaches to stir something in the pot hanging over the fire. She adds some carrots to the pot, mixes them in, then stands and turns to the man, and she says something to him and leads him to give him a kiss when a knock comes at the door. The man makes a stand, and the woman motions for him to stay. She walks to the door and glances out the window. It's already too dark outside for anything to be seen. She lifts the bolt on the door and pulls it open, revealing a tall, lanky man with a strange smile on his face. There is a wet, tearing sound, and the woman makes a weak groan, collapsing to the floor, blood quickly pooling around her. The man in the chair leaps to his feet, grabbing his son, interposing himself between the boy and the man at the door, who steps over the body and enters the house. Garlock vowed you would feel his pain, the man says conversationally, as 4 other men enter the house behind him. It appears your rent has come due. Well. Oh, that's okay. What did you make for dinner? This middle-aged peasant woman is dressed in a brown leather cloth draped around to her knees. Her hands are working at separating stringy, colorless vegetables in a pile before her, snipping the heads off the long, fibrous stems with a paring knife. She discards the stems one by one, placing the heads of the vegetables into a small, cradle-like basket in front of her. She doesn't greet you as you approach. You're not even sure she knows you're there. Ooh. That sounds very good. Excuse me? The woman doesn't respond. She keeps stripping the heads from the vegetables with a steady rhythm. She may be deaf. There's no indication that she heard you. At first glance, she seems nothing more than a middle-aged woman, unremarkable, maybe less stern than most, who seem more focused on the weaving in her lap than her surroundings. Yet you suddenly notice she's not stripping the vegetables before her any longer. She's weaving, and the vegetable pots are now missing. She still pays you no mind, her brown locks torn and snagged from lack of washing. Like many of the townsfolk you've seen, there's a strange blur to her. Even the motions of her hands seem to be playing with threads that lack color and a shape that lacks interest. It may be that she is half-minded or deaf, but something feels wrong, and as you watch her knitting takes on an odd cadence, and you have a terrible suspicion that something lurks beneath what your eyes are showing you. Her brown hair is long, almost impossibly to the length of her hands. As you follow the streams of her locks downward, the hairs become long and black, splitting off into threads of black and silver and wrapping around her hands. She is forming a soul cradle, with the threads braiding a net in front of you, each finger long and sharp like a series of knitting needles, almost hypnotic. The silver and black strands of her hair weave together, and silver predominating as a highlight, the black shadowing it. And suddenly you are calm. You are on a plateau, almost the height of a tower, several stories high. The plateau is like a table lying beneath a clear sky, and beneath the plateau, surrounding it in all directions, a forest hazy with mist, although whether it is actual mist or distance or recollection. Resting at the curve of a natural arch above you is a great copper bell, half again the size of a man, hanging at attention, as if looking down on you at the event unfolding before you. The plateau has soaked in the sun, and the rock beneath you is rough and warm. The sky forms a cradle around you, and you feel different. Not disembodied, but you feel your body. Your physical contours have changed along with the surroundings. And you hear a soft series of chimes, like wind chimes. At the sound, your scene gains color and texture, as if the sound is beckoning you gently forth, fulfilling your senses and thoughts, like mist rolling softly into a sealed chamber, and the chime coaxes you deeper into the memory, and you're certain it is a memory, a warm one. You are on a stone of a plateau, your knees on the warm texture of the ground, silver, white, shimmering like Ardra. The plateau is formed of it, glistening in the sun. You can feel the heat on your skin, your wrist, and your hands. Your hands are in motion, weaving, not thread, but gathering, tenderly, moving along the first movements of the Barrett's wheel. Your hands are wet. Your hands are upon the flesh of a newborn child, and you can feel the crowning of a tiny head, turning in your grip, its head slick, wet from the womb. The hands you are wearing, inhabiting, have done this many times, and they are practiced and confident. You can feel distant pains in your own head as the head emerges, a stream of fluid coming from the wound, helping the newborn slide forth, and a woman's labored breathing cried out. As your hands move, you hear the sound of chimes, clear, cutting through the haze of memory. You cannot see where they are coming from, but they are close, and they are meant as a comfort. Of that you are certain. And coaxed by your hands, every movement causing the chimes to sound again, almost eagerly, the child comes forth, and as it does, your hands are in motion, weaving, moving along the length of a soft, wet rope. No, an umbilical cord from the legs of the naked woman before you. You are holding a small child still wet from the womb before you. The child cries out, its cry full of life, full of soul, the ringing of chimes echoing through its thoughts, filling it with its welcome. The soul is blurred at the edges, as if you were viewing a soul from within a soul, but it is there, it is alive. The woman before you is weeping, and at her first cry, her hands reach out for it. You surrender the child to her, something you have done many times before, and as your hands move, the chimes echo the movement, and you realize the chimes are hanging from the cords on your wrists, when where they once echoed in the memory, they are now echoing in the child's mind as well. The chimes are intended to welcome the child, to be its first gentle greeting into the world, a soothing sound guided by the tender motions of your wrists. You are helping to weave its thoughts, its perceptions, and its experience, the experience. The woman laughs with ragged joy, laughing from a parched throat. Her emotions seem soothed, but the physical demands of labor have left her exhausted. But the child is here, the child is safe, and all atop the plateau is peaceful, calm, distant, flattening out as the memory persists. With effort, the scene bleeds of color, and your mind becomes your own again. There is no pole, no anchor, yet the sound of the chimes remains. As they existed in the memory, they sound here as well, and they are hanging from the woven braids on the wrists of the woman before you. Even as your head is spinning from the touch of her mind, the sound of her chimes on her wrists are sharp and clear, as if coaxing you back to the real world. The woman still sits before you, but she is nothing like what you first saw. She is wearing black, shredded garments, and that drape over her form like streamers. Her hair is streaks of black that run through with silver. Her age is almost impossible to tell. She simply feels old, like a crumbled watchtower. As she lifts her head to face you, you see that her hair is draped across the front of her face, like a veil. What you first saw of her was a mental glamour of some sort, unconscious, and you realize what you see is not what the world sees, and you are perhaps the first to see her true self. Still, you don't sense a threat in the realization. If anything, you feel a sense of relief from the figure. You can hear her thoughts, and she is glad to at last be seen. What did you do to me?
I am seen, but the eyes of others do not remember. You were the first to see me as I am, the call stripped aside.
I know that voice. There is a light touch on your mind, a caress, and her left hand mirrors the motion of the touch, reaching up to the air between you. You hear the chime of her wrist sound softly. Her hand moves as if pantomiming, resting on your cheek at a distance, and she speaks softly and slowly.
Your memories. A cadence of wheels on a caravan track. Fever. Questions by running water. Violence in a night's campfire. Arrows in the dark. And fleeing. Falling rock and cracking stone. And a storm. The storm. The storm that brushed you. Did its screaming wake you from your mind's cradle? Your memory of it is painful. Its cry is difficult to ignore. It's like a child. Many children crying out.
I encountered a Biowak, yes, and it did something to me. Her hand withdraws shyly, the chime sounding softly once again. The woman stands uncertainly, as she has been sitting for a long time, or is too weak to bear her own weight. You notice her cheekbones are tight, her face gaunt, yet while her stance is weak, she seems determined to stand before you.
You are able to see me.
It is almost a question. You suddenly realize she doesn't seem to know what you saw, and when you looked at her, the image on the plateau. Yet the image was so clear, so sharp, you're surprised she didn't feel you in there.
To see me is a rare gift. A watcher's gift.
I've never been able to do that with a living person, except with you? Is that true? What about all those other people? I've never been able to do that with a living person, except with you.
So many questions, thoughts, whirling like storm winds. That storm still roars through you, deep beneath your thoughts, yet muted and secret. like an underground river. I cannot tell if it is carving new channels or eroding what keeps your true strength buried. The fact that you could hear it at all, survive it, is something few have ever done. Your power will grow stronger with each soul you touch, as it allowed you to reach out to mine.
There is a silence, and although it seems to last for but a heartbeat, in your thoughts it stretches out between the two of you, like a pull between your minds. You blink, take a breath, and then you realize she wants to ask you a question, yet can't form the words, as if assembling them is painful. Or there simply aren't enough pieces. Do you wish to travel with me? You feel a wave of fear, gusted with the strength of relief. Although, oddly, her expression does not change. The fear dissipates, and you feel strength and certainty as if the plateau from her memory lies beneath you, and a calm sky looks down upon you. Oh. Alright.
Gores.
You will come back, but we will take you temporarily. I wanted to know who... Her voice sounded so familiar. But I don't recognize anything that she's done. Well, I recognize it, but... a lot of the stuff she's done is, things I've watched in, subbed, not dubbed. Halo 2... Oh, she's Elizabeth from the Persona series. I bet that's where... Oh, and Claves from Eternal Sonata. Claves is... No! Who's Claves in Eternal Sonata? I can't remember. I think she's one of the villains. But it would be Eternal Sonata that I recognize her from. She's Edelgard. She's Edelgard's voice from Fire Emblem Three Houses. That's what it is for sure. Eternal Sonata is the video game about Frederick Chopin. Yeah, that was her voice. She jingles. But yeah, what I actually recognize her from is Edelgard's voice.
Yes.
God, it was so familiar. It was like burning. Yeah, but Eternal Sonata is one of my all-time... No, Eternal Sonata is Frederick Chopin. He's a character. He's got a little top hat. That is one of my favorite video games of all time. But the PS4 version is absolutely superior to the 360 version because you get 2 extra characters and a whole extra dungeon. You never got to play it? Oh, it is so good. If I get a capture card, it'll be like one of the first games I play on. It's so good. It's my favorite game. You see a forest clearing, fog curling through the weeds on the ground in the cold morning air. The serenity of the scene is occasionally broken by a faint noise that echoes through the silence. This woman emerges from the trees and stops, dropping to the ground. She creeps to the edge of the clearing and crouches near a tree. She glances around furtively, listening intently to the growing light. She presses her back into the tree, tensing against it, ready to spring forward. From the distance comes another sound, a rustling in the undergrowth. At that, she shoots forward, keeping as low to the ground as she can. She puts a hand to her throat and makes a sound, a shrill bird call. But what emerges from her mouth seems to emanate from yards away. From behind her, near the source of the rustling, there is a brief grunting noise that is quickly silenced. She dives into a large bush at the edge of the tree line, keeping her head down and wriggling silently through the leaves and twigs. She takes a position in the bushes, turning to face the direction that she came. She raises her hand again, this time mimicking a Stelgar, placing the roar directly behind the men, failing to sneak up on her. More than one voice answers this call, all of them sounding panicked and hurried, all of them quickly moving this way, all thoughts of stealth forgotten. She backs out of the bush to crouch behind it. As she pulls her bow from her back, she takes a shooting stance and waits for her hunters to appear.
Well met, friend.
A portly, smiling man stands behind a warped wooden counter, polishing a buckler. He looks up. Haven't seen you before. Always glad to see a new face in town. Company's good for business and chatter's good for the soul. That's what I always say. Anyhow, what can I do for you? I'm looking for a woman named Elise. The Lord's got you asking around too, eh? He grunts. At least you ask politely enough. Bad enough having a small army move into town, but then they start throwing their weight around and telling you your business. He shakes his head and clucks. That's the problem with these lords. They think their money and their family name entitle them to some kind of special treatment. They expect everyone to fawn over them and the way their servants do. No, sir, that's not the kind of people we are in the Direwood. We broke away from a deer to get away from that kind of nonsense. If they think... Winrith, focus, I am looking for a girl. Of course, I'm just getting her. He clears his throat. I haven't seen her, not since she went missing anyway. She's mostly kept to herself. He shrugs and wipes the buckler again, but you know how women are. Always carrying on, full of palaver, once any two of you get together. Perfectly harmless, mind you, I'm not criticizing, just feels like you never run out of things to say. That girl seemed rather quiet, downright shy if I do say so, but even Hendia got her talking, just goes to show you. Hendia? An alchemist, runs a small stand near the center of town. Talented lady, but she had a run-in with some worms not long ago. She's lucky it wasn't the ogre that's been roaming about. It took all of Romart's pigs the other day, did you hear? But don't get him started. He's still sore on the subject. And once you get him wound up about that ogre and his pigs, he just won't stop talking. What's been going on in the Direford? Oh, we're a quiet little town. Not much happens here, especially not since the legacy hit. People realized they couldn't have babies and just stopped trying altogether. And that takes a lot of excitement out of the day-to-day, if you can believe it.
Oh?
You know, you don't have to... You can just do it. There don't have to be kids involved. Just do it for fun. I guess. Oh, it's stealing, I guess. I don't see... Piggies! Piggies. I'm not promoting anything. I didn't say anything. I'm just saying. Just do it. A man paces angrily in front of a wrecked animal pen, his sun-weathered face twisted with ire. He is so wrapped up in his fury that he doesn't even seem to notice you. Galloway's slobbering beasts, blazing bloody effigy, thrice damn salty wretch and her soggy... what is wrong? The monster stole my pigs, trespassed into the village, tore down my pen, and made off with the whole damned herd. Just left a few little runts, and what am I supposed to do with them? What are you talking about? An ogre moved into the area not long ago. Folk have been seeing glimpses and tracks out in the wood, but it seemed to be staying away from town, or so we thought, until it made off with my pigs! Now everyone's afraid. It's going to develop a taste for kith if it hasn't already. What do you mean to do now? I know it's too late to get my pigs back, but it set my mind at ease to see the thing's head shorn from its neck. In fact, you bring its ugly pit to me, and I'll trade you for something that's less use to a farmer like me than to a rowdy-looking sort like yourself. No, that's nobody said that. What do you know about the ogre? It's the same as any other, I'm sure. A big, ugly son of a bitch with a nasty temper and an appetite to match. Tygro could tell you more. He claims to have seen it in the wood. You can find him in his shop right by the broken tower. But it's gotta be tiny compared to the sorts of beasts you see up here in the living lands. Enough about the ogre. I'm looking for a young noblewoman named Elise. His hands curl into knobby fists. How many times do I have to repeat myself? I already told those snooping garbs I haven't seen her, but that hasn't kept them from nosing around my property. Oh, I guess we're done having a conversation.
Hello.
Okay, I guess I'm getting the ogre for you. The only person I haven't been able to have a conversation with is the guy in the tower. He did not want to talk to me.
Well met, friend.
Hey, there we go. A sturdy, broad-shouldered man wipes his hands on his slacks. He reeks of the same foul compound wafting from the vats, and his arms are stained with dye. You looking to purchase some leather? Leather? What? What can you tell me about Elise Harand? He shrugs, only that her father's men have been banging down doors and stirring up trouble. Oh, that I don't know. I don't know what Agara's English voice sounds like. Only that her father's men have been banging down doors and stirring up trouble looking for her. I never met her myself. Handia said that you two had met. He folds his arms, the smell of tallow and animal dung wafting off of him. Did she? And what else did she say? Alice was pregnant. Really? That would explain a lot. Her father's dragged her out here to get hitched with some black backwoods noble. She wanted an escape, all right, and I was happy to give it to her. Oh, gross. We snuck across the river a few nights ago for some private time. Come to find out, we weren't exactly alone. An ogre, taller than Winfrin's tail, sprung out of the forest, and we were so lost in the heat of the moment we didn't notice until it was upon us. It grabbed Alice and disappeared into the night before I could even pull my britches up. Why didn't you mention this to her father? His lordship's guards have bashed in enough doors looking for a girl. I'm not eager to have them do the same with my head. He measures you with his gaze. She could still be alive. I'm in no shape to go after her, but that Harren looks like he'd have coppers to spare for anyone who found her. He scratches his cheek with fingers stained red and yellow. Others round here have seen the ogre east of town. Took most of Rumbold's pigs just the other day. If someone were to find it, they'd be a lot grateful of people here in the Dire Ford. He wipes a splotch of dye from his elbow onto his shirt tail. Something else you need? Rebel mentioned something about an ogre. He's hardly talked about anything else since those pigs of his went missing. The whole town's been worried about that monster. People are starting to see shapes in their windows at night, hearing its growl, the snorting of their mates. It would put a lot of minds at ease if you got rid of it. He scrapes at the red pigment under his fingernails. I sometimes venture into the wilderness, collecting ingredients for my dyes, mind you. I've seen tracks east of here near the river. That couldn't have been anything else. What's in the collapsed tower? It's collapsed. Nothing. He rolls his eyes and shrugs. A few hides on stretching racks and the tallow stench Dangler's always grumbling about. The rest of the keep's dust. Just like that fool Lady Thano who tried to hold it. There's a bard at the inn who will tell you about the whole blazing story if you want to hear it. I just don't want to fight him. Okay. So I believe I've grabbed all the side quests. Oh, Caius from 13-2. I did explore. I feel if I go in that door, the same situation is going to happen to me like every door I touch that I have explicitly been told not to go into. And he's gonna punch me. I'll explore outside the town. I will tomorrow. I can't do anything else. I'm out of time. No, I have to. Don't you come in here and bully me. Oh, I know. Yeah, do it now. No, you have to wait till Tuesday. That's just how it be. Men blocked. You use your beans to harass me? I guess that's what the beans are for. Oh, that was very sweet. Is there something very specific you want me to do? It seems like there's something you very much want me to see. And if you tell me what it is, I can stay a little longer. I will give in to the harassment. Which is setting a precedent in this stream, but... I can't. I have other things to do. Oh my goodness. I don't have a pout emote yet. I only... That is so sweet. Oh my gosh. Alright. Well, because you have been so kind, I shall also be kind. I will go another 30 minutes, but that is all I really can spare. This was very sweet of you. I don't... my heart... No, it's totally fine. This was super sweet. My raid was canceled today, so I do have time to spare. I won't go to bed. That is not my intention when I log off today. So let's go. If I had raid today, I would not be able to, Do not feel obligated. This is super sweet, though. Thank you. Oh, my heart is very full. This was very, very sweet. No, I don't have raid today, so I can spare some time. We can go a little longer for funsies. Have I not explored? Oh, that's true.
Spot on.
Wait, you use a sword? What? What's your dealio?
Shed no.
Oh, my chin. That is how it be.
Certainly.
It's I think it's called paying it forward. So now I must do the same for someone else. The burden of kindness is upon me. I think if Mama Moss has subs and stuff activated, I may gift a few for her chat. She's a sweetie. And I very much enjoyed her streams. I will pay it forward to her. Probably not today, but it is, I will actually write a sticky note right now. Do a kindness. You stand within what looks to be a ruined shrine. The moss-covered remnant of an ancient statue lies before you. Oh, I will. Oh, only the broken legs and feet of the sculpture remain. Long grooves beside it suggest that it could be removed. Near the base of the statue, you discover a skull carved into the stone. Use the hammer and chisel to gouge a hole near the statue. Well, should I examine things first before just whipping out a hammer? I push. Tell Ella. Adir, you are strong. Adir pushes the statue, arms shaking and feet scrambling for leverage. It does not budge. Well, you tried, Adir. A skull is carved into the stone in an intricate relief, its mouth agape. Peering closely, you notice a rusty keyhole between its jaws. Oh, I will pick that lock. I'm not gonna make Aloth push it. After several attempts, you realize the rusted lock is beyond the skill of both you and your companions. Alright, I'll have Aloth push the statue. No, he didn't do it. He couldn't do it. Alright, I'm just gonna start using a hammer. You chip away at the base of the statue. By the time your arms are numb from the ringing hammer blows, you've scratched out a hole just wide enough to fit 3 fingers. Air whistles through the gap, but whatever's on the other side, you won't be able to dig your way through it. I'm gonna wedge a pry bar under the statue to move in. You place the pry bar into the hole you've chiseled. Leaning into it with all your weight, you feel the statue slide and grind along the grooves. The displaced pedestal reveals a dark passage descending into the earth.
There are beasts here. They are animals in human form.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's exciting. I'm going to continue exploring before I tackle that. But I will come back and go in there.
Certainly.
yeah, the dragons. Okay. Let's look at my little man's spells. Oh, he does all sorts of cool stuff. Oh my goodness. There is so much to absorb. Okay, well, I will have to read this off stream. Bear.
Need something?
Okay. Eloth.
Hey.
Yes.
I love her. I should also look at her spells.
I'm starting to miss my neighbors.
And they're just baby dragons in here.
Hmm? Certainly.
Oh. A man turns to face you, wiping blood from his estoc. His knit brows betray a moment of confusion, but as he watches you, a slow, confident smile creeps over his face. The Iron Brand does not meet many travelers this far from the road. What would they be doing out here? An elven man cocks his head at the other. Probably after that dragon hit. Same as us, boss. A dwarf curses and spits in the grass. It's a rhetorical question, you dimwit. He tightens his grip on the sword. Everyone knows the road between the villages and the between the villages are crawling with brigands. They're obviously bandits, same as us. Why would you want a dragon egg? He laughs. To sell it, of course. If I wanted to eat it, I would have grabbed some pigs from that farm in Direford, too. Surely we can divide the spoils somehow. An excellent idea. Just leave your coppers and equipment in a pile at your feet, and we'll call that a fair split. Boss, I don't think they're going for it. He shrugs, raising his blade. It was worth a try. I don't know why I ever try and reason with these people. It never works. Boss? Boss?
Hi?
Lava. Arthur, word and wrath.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bad things happen. Wait. No. Why is Alice tanking? Oh no, the spellcaster was absolutely wailing on his whole life.
Certainly.
I don't have a Brooklyn accent inside of me. What's happening here? Oh, I must have accidentally hit pause. No. What is attacking me? I don't know what's happening. Oh, did he? Okay.
I could use a wee kip.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know where this man is either. down here. Oh. Oh, he got stuck fighting a dragon. That was super funny. Thank you for your clothing and your loot. Anyway. The cliff face is blackened and melted like candle wax. There's a small outcropping overhead with what appears to be a crude nest. It looks like a challenging climb. You toss a grappling hook over the ledge, holding the attached rope with one hand. The hook lands with a satisfied clang, and you secure the line with a firm tug. You take another look at the cliff. There may be only space for one person at the top. I will do it myself. The rope makes for a quick ascent. You climb to the nest and the cliff with ease. The nest is surrounded by glowing embers. Twigs and bones litter the area. An egg, the size of a small keg, is nestled among the detritus. It looks heavy and awkward to carry. Secure the egg with the rope and lower it. You tie a rope around the egg. You lower the egg with a slow, steady motion. Once the prize has reached the bottom, you settle into the dirt. You safely climb down the cliff. More money, more problems. I don't know how much more those are. Oh. I bet the troll's in here. Well, before we go fight the troll, we should camp for safety. Okay. Sure, we can do that. Oh, I can't do that because I've already, we'll definitely visit Moss another day, because I'm, going over as it is. So I can't, I always feel bad when I can't stay super long with her. But we definitely will visit her another, yeah, we'll visit her another day.
Spot on!
I got distracted by this. This went really badly, really fast.
Leave it to me.
These ones are...
I shall deal with...
Oh?
Well, sorry everybody, I wasn't paying attention, but nobody died. Leave it to me. I think my problem stems from, I don't know. I miss all my tanks, to be perfectly honest. Where are the spiders coming from? No, actually do that one.
Hey.
Okay. Establish that.
You're kind of stuck over.
You're fine. Come closer.
Over here.
What?
Oh? Certainly.
Let's go here. The troll is probably right there, so we'll come back in a second. Oh no, it's huge! Okay,
Hey.
I tried to do too many things at once. Oh, she died really quickly. Alright, well.
Let's have it out!
I was so scared.
Hmm?
But it worked out.
Certainly.
You too! Have a good evening. I think giant tentacles should win against everything. Think webs, ripple in the cavern breeze. Mummified remains are tangled from within. Oh, interesting. There's another path. Okay. Well, we're gonna camp like right outside there because everyone's in rough shape again. And I stream every day. Oh, my schedule's not updated. I stream every day except Mondays. So, I have a 3-hour stream on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Yeah, and then a 2-hour stream from 5 or 6 p.m. to, like, 8 p.m. I think.
Hmm?
And then, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are much longer streams. Skulls and bones form an assortment of kith and beasts litter the cave. They've been crushed, scored, gnawed, and punctured by something with fangs as thick as an Amara's finger. I want to actually
Yes.
have you slow down, little man. Oh, there he is. As you advance into the darkness, the ground begins to tremble. You hear plodding footfalls, growling breaths, and bone-snapping crunches. An ogre steps out of the shadows, 10 feet tall and bulging with muscle. He tears a mouthful from a hoofed, pink-fleshed limb and tosses it aside. He watches you from under the thick ridge of his brows. Too well equipped to be a villager. A bandit from the road, then, must be. The ogre snorts and tightens his grip around a club. I've kept to myself, killed no one but fools reckless enough to chase me down here. Why have you come looking for me? I am looking for a young noblewoman. She has gone missing. Karnak snarls and reveals a large row of stained teeth. I've done my best to avoid kith, especially the kind that might give rise to search parties. He scratches his knuckles and eyes you. She never came here, of that I'm sure. Then I'll look elsewhere. First, I want to ask you something more. He glares at a spot on your shoulder as if he expects to see someone lurking behind you. Speak fast. A farmer from Direwood claims you ate his pigs. He rams a fist into the wall and roars. Then I should have eaten the blazing farmer. I underestimated the love these villagers have for their swine. Calm down. Perhaps you could tell me something else. His toothy frown deepens. What? What are you doing in this cave? Living here? Hiding from your kind. He scratches a tusk, glaring at you. Kith driven from their homes by strange storms, bandits out for blood and coin. My kind is unsafe around Kith at the best of times, but now tempers run hot, and ogre blood is valued among your alchemists. I notice you're favoring your leg. You're weakened. Oh, beans. The ogre grimaces, baring his teeth at you, and it won't stop me from braining you and any other raider foolish enough to pursue me here. Oh, god damn it. Well, that was my fault. I didn't want to kill him, because he didn't well, I don't think killing a bunch of pigs is...
Hey.
Well, I don't know. Alright, everybody.
How may I help?
Your thoughts must...
Moe ixi ana.
I did not want to kill him, and I do feel bad. But what's done is done. No! You say such cursed shit in my pure Twitch chat. I liked Durance had a bow staff and he just kept tanking and I couldn't stop him from tanking. And he just kept taking so much he was just taking so much damage and it was becoming a problem when I need him to do so much endurance boosting. So now that he has a wand, he has been much better. What body did I miss? I looked. I even pressed the tab key. I pressed it. I did nothing glued. Oh, it was right there. The note is bloodstained and torn, and the edges are smudged with some kind of pigment. From the scraps that are legible, you can make out hastily written instructions. To avoid the entrance in the tower, traffic through my shop would attract the attention. Direford might be sympathetic to our goals, but they wouldn't approve of a temple. Yet, key to the entrance by the river east of town. But be careful on the road. Reports of these days, tease. Well, that's from... That's from the, yeah, I don't know why he generates so much aggro, but he sure does. So, he's much safer with a wand. You just have to remember to move him in close. Yeah, the leather guy. You have to remember to move Durance in close, so that he can still do, his, endurance boost. But keeping him from touching things in melee range has been, much better. I would like to do the same to her, because she's becoming a problem. And a liability. I don't know why everyone else in this game is better than tanking than Idir, but they sure are. Oh, you think so? Let me take a look at it. No, it's a courier's key. This is not for the statue. Oh wait, no, it was this key. Oh yeah. No, you're right. That is definitely for the skull lock that I blew all my tools on. Did I see everything there was to see? I did not. Yeah, when Durance dies, it becomes like a race against the clock since he has all the healing abilities. So now that he's alive, or in a better state, things will be better. Do I have my whole party? Okay. Good job, everybody. And now we'll go down there, and that is absolutely the last thing we can do. The danger bong goes bum 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 bum. Alright. And that has to be it for this afternoon. Thank you so much, or this isn't this afternoon, this evening. Thank you so very, very much for watching and stopping by. I appreciate very much. Zaph isn't here, but big thanks to him as well for being so very generous. I will be back tomorrow. I believe it's going to be all Overwatch all day, so that'll be a lot of fun. And you are back. I was just saying thank you. And how generous you were. I've lost my train of thought. Oh, if you were looking for more about me, no, don't be depressed. If you're looking for more about me and what I do, you can find my previous series. Goodbye. You can find my previous series on YouTube, and you can find updates about me on Twitter. All of which is linked below, along with the Discord and some other things. Thank you so very, very much. I hope you all have a very lovely afternoon, and take care. Goodbye.